Dr. Winthrop, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good.
Joe, it's so nice to meet you. I've been messing with lighting.
It's always the challenge.
And I think that's pretty much all I have right now.
Hey, that works. That absolutely works for us. I'm glad that you could take the time to chat tonight. Very excited to chat about the last of the Winthrops and just really get the story from you and what that journey was like. And for those of you who are tuning in, this is just an incredible film that follows your journey after taking an Ancestry DNA test. And man, the emotional journey that sent you on, I just can't imagine. I'm excited to chat and ask you some questions that I have. But first and foremost, tell us how this came about, the film itself.
Oh my goodness. So I really just only wanted to write a screenplay about it. I didn't even think about making a movie for years to come. And so I can just tell you, I have a new family. So as you found out in the film, yep. And my third cousin is a filmmaker and a cinematographer. And so I reached out to him and asked him, do you know anybody that can help me with a screenplay? And so he said, yeah, my cousin. And so Adam Singer, who's my cousin, he, not my cousin, he's the cousin to my cousin. He said, you need to make a movie out of this right now. You don't have time to write about this. What are you thinking? Your life is happening now. We need to film. And I was in such shock anyway. So I said, sure. And I asked my mom.
Go ahead,
she said, yes, okay, too.
And it's funny because as I was watching, you can see that your mom is on this journey with you as well, just as everyone that you come in contact with is. But, it really starts off as sort of wanting to, I don't want to say make amends, but to connect with your late father. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I'd taken this Ancestry DNA test years before and, nothing happened. And, I'd always been concerned, because there's different branches of the Winthrops. And so for this branch, well, gosh, I'm the last one. And if I don't have a family, that's it, and I'm a girl. Right. And so, historically, culturally, that's kind of it. And so, so I wanted to find out. So I did the Ancestry test because, my dad, I wanted to know if there's any other connections anywhere, but there was nothing for years.
And then all of a sudden, everything exploded.
And everything exploded. Oh my goodness. Life-changing.
Absolutely. What was it like, not only being, you have this idea, you're putting the film together with your third cousin, but you're also on this emotional journey. So you're in the limelight. The cameras are on you. Did that add additional pressure or another dynamic to everything?
So I'm a dentist. No clue about filmmaking. I've taken pictures of teeth. Okay. So
I'll cover mine right now then.
You're fine. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I really, because I didn't know what I was doing, because ignorance is bliss, that's, I think, helped me to just jump in with both feet. And Adam Singer, my producer and co-director and writer on this, he just he did so much of the legwork and introduced me to everybody that it helped to, like, everybody that's come onto this film has been incredible.
Yeah, and you can tell it's just the journey feels heavy for the viewer as well, but in a good way, because we're unveiling all of these secrets isn't the right word. We're unveiling all these things, all these unknowns along with you. So I guess going through this journey, is there any moment that you thought, okay, I'm done, I don't want to continue along this path, this is getting to be too much?
Every week. And I decided to fund the film myself so I could have creative control over it. I didn't want anybody to have an input in my story because it's my story. Sure. So I was really blessed to be able to do that. But then comes the reality that this is expensive. So, but at the same time, I've been able to just really experience my growth and the connection with mom. And, I think she's the redemption story,
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I was going to ask, as I mentioned earlier, your mother has some tough moments in this film, and it takes a little bit to open up.
Yeah, I lost my mom sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so she's passed away since, and so I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay.
I just wanted her, I'd love for her to be here and experience all of this, because tonight our composer, and I'll come back to your question, but tonight our composer was nominated for the score that he put together, so at the HMMA Awards, and so really excited to, support him and, the work that he did. But to go back to your question, with mom, it was, at first it was really hard because she didn't expect, she was, in her mind, the church had told her, just keep it to yourself. And it just grew into something that she couldn't even talk about. It was too much of a burden for her. So when I found out, and then she found out, it was really hard for her. And she had to come to terms with that. And I didn't even realize that she had to, I was just so busy being like in my own sort of trauma at first. Until my sister, my new sister, she, I didn't know who to call. And so I called my new sister, and she's like, and I'm bawling, I'm crying. I mean, this is like the third day, and I'm like completely, how do you say in English? Like I'm on the floor, just completely. And so she's like, but honey, and this is Lillian, she says, but honey, why are you crying? You have a beautiful new family. We love you, and we've been looking for you, and we found you, so like rejoice. And and that's the miracle.
Yeah, seeing those text messages when you're showing them on the screen, it was just kind of, I was thinking, what would I do in that situation? How do you respond?
It's beyond, it's hard to even comprehend. Like if somebody was going to tell me, well, how would you imagine? I couldn't have made up the story. But what would you do? Like, are you able to ask your audience, what would they do if they got this kind of message? Absolutely.
You find out that you may have a sibling out there that you weren't aware of, and, all the questions that raises, and that sends you down a path. It's such a journey there. And one of the things, you just apologize for getting a little emotional, but I think that is what made this film so impactful, is you are emotionally raw throughout it, and it's how anyone would be. And I think that's, being able to show yourself and give yourself up to the film that way just enhances the story that's being told, the real life story that's being told. But also, to go back and sort of honor your mother here, that is another aspect of this film that's just absolutely incredible. You start off thinking that we're going to be with you the entire time, which is great, and we are mostly. But there's other stories, there's other individuals who have stories that unfold. And that it's just a layered journey that is unlike anything I've seen in recent memory.
It's amazing to think that it's done, but I feel like there's still so much to explore. And that's, I can't wait to spend time with my new family, and they're not new anymore. They're my family.
Right.
And so it's really exciting, and it's really I'm so far away from them though. So I just got to start traveling and being with them. And
sure. So that's a great segue to where are things today? What have you learned since wrapping the film, and sort of what are next steps for you?
I don't know. I know I want to make a sequel. I've talked to my family about it, and they're in.
That's great.
And they culturally we're so different, but they're so full of love, and I can't wait. I want to understand, so the first film essentially is understanding the culture I was raised with. Mm-hmm. And so the second film is really understanding the culture they were raised with, and how that's, and I can't wait to pick and choose the pieces of my life back up and put myself back together, but with my story.
Sure.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's excellent. Is there anything from the first film that maybe didn't make it to, the film that you wish would have been shown, or anything that you want to share there?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. There's a lot of things that historically that I wanted to be able to put in there, but then it would have been too much of a, sort of a historical lesson. But there's so many things I learned, and what I learned is that the decisions we make today, they actually do affect the future. So, and I didn't really realize how impactful our decisions are.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's a great message, because it's so true. I'll tell you, it sent me down a Google hole. I was Googling the Winthrops and wanting to learn more, and it really is a fascinating story in that sense. This is your first time, you mentioned, with making a film, and you started off wanting to write a screenplay and ended up being the main subject of a documentary here. So do you have the filmmaking bug now?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's great.
Oh my goodness, it is such an amazing, intense, connected. There's so much to it. It's not just one aspect. Then there's the what do you do with the film once you have it? I didn't even. Okay, I know this is stupid. I'm so sorry, but I had no idea I actually had to talk about me.
Yeah. I understand.
I didn't even realize I had to talk about the film after it was done. It just, and I know it's so common sense, but when you're in the middle of it, and I'm just trying to swim through the decisions. No idea.
And it's an emotional wallop of a film that then you have to keep revisiting. And I guess that leads to another question there. Do you find it cathartic in any way, rewatching parts of the film? I'm sure you're not sitting down and watching it all the time, but as viewers see it, and as you revisit it, what do you feel?
Well, lately the biggest thing that I feel is, I miss my mom. And I miss my dad. And people tell me they're with you, and I actually believe that. And so one of the things that I'm really what I focus on expands. So if I focus on their love and support, even though they're not here, I can think of them, and they come with me now. So they're here in this interview. So
absolutely.
Yeah, but that part's hard. The editing room, having to see and to feel that over and over again. But at the same time, I think I learned a lot of stuff from it. I learned some grit, I think.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Learning some grit through this process. As you were engaging in the process, was there any roadblocks that you encountered, and how did you get over them?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing was to say action and not giggle.
I understand that.
And then, just trust. I think the biggest thing is I had to, I wasn't super trusting before. And then I learned this whole thing. I'm like, wow, this completely. But I think because of it, I actually learned to trust. I said, I can't walk around through life not opening up my heart, because otherwise I'm going to, I'll have to learn nothing from this. And so, trusting that I have a new family that's going to love me and accept me, and trusting that my mom and I are going to connect. And it's that part's been hard.
Sure.
But the most beautiful thing happens with that trust. So I'm kind of proud of that.
That's incredible. And I mean, you really did put yourself on film there, and allowing the viewers to go along with you on that journey. So again, I think that's what makes the film so powerful, is you can tell it's a very personal journey that is being communicated.
I made the film for me. I really did, because I needed to heal.
Yeah.
And I know my mom, but the fact that she also put herself out there, and hard as it was for her, it just shows that, it's worth doing the courage. It's worth communicating. It's worth reaching out. It's worth opening up.
Yeah.
And if my mom can do it, anybody can do it. So I'm really proud of her.
Did you ever expect that taking an Ancestry DNA test would lead to all of this?
Never in a million years. So did you ever take?
No, but I will tell you that for the past hour, I've been thinking, I was researching it a little bit. I'm like, I wonder what would come of that. My father is very interested in learning more about his family and his roots over in Germany and in Ireland, which I think would be really interesting. But then I know that I would get sucked into it, and whether or not it's put on film or anything, or interesting enough to even be, shared, I know that I would be completely consumed by it, not stop researching.
Well, would be really cool, and I don't want to give advice, but if you can spend some time with your dad and connecting on these levels, and you're going to get details that you would never expect, but I'm excited for you. I hope you do it.
I might do it. You may have pushed me. I may definitely do that. So you mentioned a sequel, so that's definitely something that's in the works?
I started actually with our storyline editor, so Christopher Seward, and I and our team, we've sat and started, formulating where I want to go in my inner journey, in my development. So there'll be plans to go to, well, you'll just have to wait.
Definitely excited for that. So do you mentioned that you're a dentist. Do you see that in being put on the back burner in the future for filmmaking, or is it still going to be a juggle between the two?
So I don't do clinical dentistry anymore. So I'm a consultant. I've been a consultant for a number of years now.
Okay.
So I'll still keep consulting, at least for a while, because I find that, passionating. Okay, I just made a new word.
I like it though.
So I know it's super interesting, and I help these programs who have not been successful in the past to try to bring them up to what they call substantial compliance. So and I think that attention, I think it keeps me trying to think through systems, and it helps with filmmaking now. So I think of it as helping my filmmaking.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd love to do some I'd like to do more.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's great. My day job, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm actually a lawyer by day. And then, guide the movies and film is all kind of like my passion on the side. And people have asked the same question: are you going to walk away from law if you ever have the opportunity? And I don't know that I could ever walk away. I'd probably still want to consult or do something of that sort, because I work mainly with compliance, substantial compliance, as you were talking about.
Do you do as well? Oh my God.
This is crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a small world. This is cool. I'd love to hear more about that.
Oh, yeah. I could tell you stories for days. Maybe that could be a film, a horror. Not sure about a documentary, but a horror there. So just wrapping up here, Last of the Winthrops is available now on digital everywhere. And as I mentioned, I really was enthralled by this. It was just wonderful and challenging in a lot of ways to watch you go through this journey, and the phone calls and the emotions that you were conveying through them, as well as meeting the individuals that you did. I just have to thank you for being so open and willing to share that, because I think that's what really makes this story swim.
Oh, and thank you. Thank you for connecting to my story. I'm so grateful. And, I don't know if you've been to the website, so like the lastofthewinthrops.com, and, all the links are there. Not all of them, but many links are there to where you can see the film. And at some point, I'd love to be able to have people share their story with me, so that's something I'd like to develop in the future.
That'd be great. Yeah, hear other stories of similar experiences. And
yeah,
wow, I'm sure there's probably some really crazy stories out there that would be great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Winthrop, thank you so much. Viviane. Oh, I have to go by title here. But Viviane, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm glad that we were able to connect, and I look forward to continuing to watch for the sequel in the future, and also to follow your journey through both the website and your socials here.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate this opportunity to talk about the film. And
Absolutely. And thanks for being so open with it too.
thanks.
Take care.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.